following contains flashing of light and images that may cause seizures. Warning. The following presentation may contain sensitive material that may not be suitable for some viewers or listeners. Discretion is advised. Normally, I'm not much of an app user. In fact, I had what my friends call the dumb phone, until I got a new one about a year ago. And honestly, I never felt like I was missing out. As cool as my friends made Twitter and Instagram and whatever was around, I always knew those things would take me away from the things that I really had to put my focus on. My studies and my sanity. So when I first got my iPhone last year, it was a pretty big deal to my friends. Once I had it, I quickly realized how cool the interface was and how useful it was. For 2 weeks, I went app crazy, though that eventually lost its pizzazz, until Dave and I started dating. By then, I had gotten used to the smartphone world, and he, a tech nerd, was all about it. After a few months, he convinced me that I needed to download Snapchat for funny conversations via pics, babe. You can guess where it ended up. I didn't mind, however. Since Dave and I had been going strong for a while, I trusted him never to use any of my pictures against me. And over time, we began to use the app, mostly for enjoyment and humor, for the most part. The first time it happened, I was walking out of the mall from work. I was on my phone, and which I will admit, I'm a little bit addicted to now, and a Snapchat came in from Dave. It was blurry, but I can make out some of the ground and maybe part of the car. Assuming it was a mistake and nothing more, I thought little of it for the rest of the night until dinner. "Nice butt snap today, babe," I said with a wink. He looked up from his mac and cheese. "What are you talking about?" "You butt snapped me a pic of the ground or something earlier when I was leaving work at the mall. I couldn't tell what it was, but it looked like a mistake." Dave looked a bit confused and went back to eating. When I asked him what was up, all he said was, "Must have been a software issue," and went back to his food. As a serious techie, he takes any accidents he has with his devices super personal. I let it go, and we went back to our normal routine. For a few days, all snaps were of the usual fodder. Good-looking food, ridiculous selfie faces, and a few not-safe-for-work messages thrown in for old time's sake. Then, a few days later, as I was walking out of work, my phone buzzed. I was crossing the parking lot when I clicked the screen on and saw the notification from Dave. The snap lasted only 3 seconds and was blurry, but it looked like a very pixelated and zoomed in picture of a person, maybe with blonde hair. I thought it was strange, so I took a selfie and snapped him back. "What was that?" I received a reply almost immediately of David's face, only it was kind of distorted and weird. In fact, I could barely tell it was him because of the lighting. I figured it was some kind of weird filter, or the fact that he seemed to have a bright light on behind him, but his face was completely shadowed in a silhouette. Almost immediately I received another one from him, this time clearly of his face with a confused expression. Taken at that kind of angle, the picture's taken without letting your coworkers know you're taking a selfie. Then another came in. This one was a bit more zoomed out. It was a petite blonde girl walking in the parking lot. It took me about 10 seconds to realize that that girl in the picture was me. I had no idea how David did it, but I was honestly impressed. Startled at first, but impressed. I snapped back the kissy face with a heart emoji, and David snapped back from work with a seemingly confused look on his face. I looked around the parking lot, but it was basically empty. He was nowhere in sight. How are you doing that? I sent back, giving my most ridiculous selfie face imaginable. Doing what? He sent back yet another low-key work selfie. I got in the car thinking little of it and went home to make some lunch. It was midday on a Tuesday, and there were no spots near my house, so I had to park a few blocks away and walk it. And as I walked, naturally I played with my phone. Even though it was broad daylight and I lived in a nice neighborhood, eyes on your phone or ground are an easy way to keep from making your eye contact with any creepy guys potentially hanging around the street. I texted a few of my friends about the weekend plans when another Snapchat came in from David. And this time, it was of me getting out of my car. I stopped and looked around, figuring he must be hiding somewhere. He's a total nerd like that. But after a few moments, the breeze got too cold and I figured he'd meet me inside eventually. "You'll freeze out here, nerd," I said lovingly, and walked towards my house. I continued down the street and another notification popped up. 2 new snaps. I opened the first snap, and it was of my kitchen table with a large pot, jarred sauce, and a box of rigatoni. "Pasta for dinner?" it said. I replied with a smile and a "sure" smiley face and kept walking. The second snap played. It was of his weird silhouetted face again. The caption said, "I'm not cold." I'm not cold. A new Snapchat notification popped up. This one of me walking down the street, just moments before. The caption was simple. "I like you. I like you." I replied thinking it was David, with a snap of my face and quite generously the low-cut shirt beneath it, with an "I like you too." He sent another back of him in my kitchen with a cat, taunting him with a rigatoni. A moment later, a second snap came in of a black screen with a giant emoji with a huge smile on it. I had to admit, the way that he was sending these snaps was quite impressive. I had to ask him tonight how he did it. When I got into the house, I saw him cooking and didn't have time to ask him how he played his pranks. The water was overboiling, and the sauce was way too hot, and he was looking as lost as ever in front of the stove. He's a shitty cook, but he tries, so I love him for it. I jumped in. I got swept up in making dinner, and I forgot to ask again about his pranks until he stopped for a moment to run to the bathroom. I heard the door click and my phone chime. A snap of me cooking popped into the screen. "You're so pretty. You're so pretty," it said. I just smiled and put my phone down. When he got out of the bathroom, dinner was ready, and I told him to grab a plate. We served ourselves and began to talk about our days. "So, how do you keep doing those snaps?" I said. "And how do you get those pictures of me leaving work?" "What are you talking about?" he said. I explained again the pictures he sent, and he looked confused, denying the whole thing. He's always had that nerdy, awkward sense of humor. It wouldn't be the first time I had ruined a joke or surprise too early, so I just smiled and changed the conversation. He even played up the awkward, reserved part the entire time too, as if my questioning had truly confused him. This was the most intricate prank he had played to date. Throughout the night, I got a few more from his account when I wasn't paying attention. He must have sneakily gotten the pictures when I crossed the room and on occasion. For the most part, he was busy at his computer working on a program that he and his friends were building, and I sitting on the couch reading. I thought little of it and quietly enjoyed the fact that for the first time in a few months, he was being pretty forward and flirty. I liked being noticed. That was until he went to bed. I figured since he had been sending me all these weird messages to get my attention, he wanted all of my attention. But when the lights went out, he kissed me goodnight, rolled over, and started snoring. Almost immediately, my phone buzzed. A snap popped up of me from earlier, walking from the car. A second was of me in my car, and the caption, "I'm always watching." The third was of me sitting in my living room, reading. Only, I realized the angle was a bit off. It was taken up from high, as if from the top corner of the room. The only caption was a heart emoji. The fourth was of me in my car. During a quick moment, I picked my nose. Always, it said. Like, I needed to know how the heck he was doing this. It was going beyond cute and funny, and now a little creepy. Most importantly, how did he get that shot of me in the car earlier? I was alone. And did he have a freaking hidden camera installed in my dash? This was a bit too far for a cute prank. I went to check his phone to see if he had some weird app installed, but it was powered off. I got up to check his computer to see if he had something running on that, but that too was powered off. A little annoyed, I woke him up and started yelling at him. He, as most sleeping people would do, woke up confused and annoyed and answered with a sleeping, "Yes, dear, we'll take care of it tomorrow," and just turned over and went back to bed, immediately regaining his snoring tempo. A new snap came in, and I shoved the phone in his face, but he didn't want to wake. This one was of me reading a few hours earlier, only it was an ultra close-up, and there's no way a hidden camera could have taken it. The space in front of my couch is completely wide open, and this was taken at eye level, maybe 2 feet from my face. I like you, it said, and a chill went down my spine. Almost too terrified to answer, I turned the camera on my phone. I put the Snapchat to selfie and turned the flash on. The bright flash was the only light in my nearly pitch black room and illuminated my face in the room around me for a split second. What the hell is this? I captioned the photograph. Nothing. And I took another with my flash. Seriously, who is this? A new snap came in of a black screen with a large smile emoji on it. "I am a friend," it said. How the fuck are you doing this? Nothing. I sent one more, the flash of my phone illuminating my face in a messy bedroom for a split second. Why are you doing this? No answer. I sent back another. Please stop. A message of my black screen with a giant sad emoji face came back. I'm sorry. I sent back another. Please stop. A message of a black screen with a giant sad face emoji came back. I'm sorry. I sent back another. Please go away. After a moment, another notification popped up. Another black screen with an unsure face emoji and caption. I am sorry, Sasha, but I cannot do that. And I sent one last reply Why? A few moments passed. My phone buzzed with a Snapchat notification. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. The snap displayed a picture that took me a second to comprehend. There in the center of the screen was a girl. Me. Sitting on my bed. My face and the picture just barely illuminated by the flash of the phone from the picture that I had taken just moments before. I could see David sleeping next to me, and our cat laying lazily off in the corner. The picture had been taken from not 5 feet away. Before I even had a chance to scream, I felt a cold whisper in my ear. Because I really like you. Hey everyone, Jyuni here. Now, there's a lot to be said about this story. First, let's give credit to where it deserves. The story was actually found online and wanted to give it a shot at reading it. And of course, the original story and the author's name will be in the description below. Now, with the rise of social media, it's become a lot more accessible to meet different people. Sometimes just random bots or strangers that come up. And then there's those occasional creeps that come in. And sometimes we can never know what's in the mind or the intentions of certain individuals. And in terms of stalkers, you never know what they're capable of. All I can say is just please be careful out there, everyone. And of course, know when to set those boundaries, especially after getting to know somebody. And again, you just never know who you're gonna run into. That's it for me today. If you have any thoughts or opinions on this, please leave them in the comments section below. Hi everyone, Jyuni here, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you like that, why don't you go ahead and smash and destroy that like button for me. And tune in next week for our next episode. And as always, be you, and embrace in self-love. Subscribe for more content. And if you enjoy scary stories like these, click on the thumbnails next to the icon. And thanks for watching.